I think that we need to take a moment, though, to think and to reflect on the fact that we have lost 42 men and women in Afghanistan that are Canadians, that went to Afghanistan because they thought they were going for the right reasons, and they thought that they were going to do the right thing, which was reconstruction. Isn't that what we were all told? And isn't that what we're still being told today? And as Canadians are dying, what we are saying is, with the War Resisters Support Campaign, with the Canadian Peace Alliance, and with everyone involved in the peace movement across this country, what we are saying is it's time to tell the truth. It's time to bring our troops home. We have lost an ability today to broker peace in Afghanistan by participating in an illegal war. We used to play a wonderful role in the world, and some could say that's debatable. But I say that we played a role where we wore blue hats, where we went into nation states and helped to redevelop and assist. But we are in fact occupying Afghanistan under a US-led coalition. And it's wrong, and it's not for the reasons that we are being told. I think that it is important for us to hear exactly why Francisco Juarez is here tonight. And it's not for me or anyone else to say why he is here tonight, except for himself. So I would like us all to stand and give him a warm welcome to Vancouver, and welcome, please, Francisco Juarez.
Good evening. It's indeed a pleasure to be with you here today to discuss these issues of national and global consequence. Perhaps I'll just start by introducing myself and then outline some of the reasons why I'm here today. My name, as you've heard, is Francisco Juarez, and I'm from Victoria, British Columbia. Up until August of this year, I was an officer candidate in the land element of the Canadian Armed Forces. And I joined the forces in 2002 after deciding, like many who have made the decision to enlist, that the programs available for 100% remuneration towards post-secondary study while serving full-time as a member of the regular force was just what I needed in order to finish my degree. As a student of justice, my intentions were to use this time to later acquire employment within a level of the federal government or continue within the forces, which I definitely began to consider as I entered into the Navy. I initially joined the Navy in 2002 and served for 3.5 years aboard the Pacific Fleet's flagship, HMCS Algonquin. Desiring a change and more time for my studies, I transferred to the Army Reserves and applied for a commission as an infantry officer. I felt that by working at this level, I could use my skills in mediation and conflict resolution to advance the humanitarian emphasis of the Canadian mission in Afghanistan and elsewhere. The forces have members who work specifically to liaise with local authorities in determining economic and infrastructural needs and bringing NGOs forward to assist their specific requirements. We all know, of course, what priority has been given to this nature of work as the conflict in Afghanistan has grown more volatile and difficult to manage. As an infantry officer, I would be a leader, and my professional responsibilities would also include care and charge of men and women who are also very proud to be serving their country in their particular functions. I did have reservations, however, concerning the exact type of mission being conducted in Afghanistan, but was satisfied at the time that our role as a member of the NATO forces arrayed against the Taliban was to be effective in promoting humanitarian and infrastructure building priorities. Indeed, I hope to secure a place on a rotation to Afghanistan in order to assist in peace building at a crucial time in that country's history. My family, however, did not support my point of view, and I began to speak with them about my role in any mission so as to prepare them for any eventualities. This is a natural progression that serving members go through when they are about to go overseas or are considering going overseas, you very much engage your family. You want them to be prepared for what might happen and for them to understand, if they disagree with you, why you're making those decisions. With these discussions, I began to have a change in perspective and started to question the role of our government overseas. How did we fit into an American war on terror? And were we helping in an unjust and criminal conflict with a runaway superpower intent on hegemony in the Middle East? As I prepared for summer training as an officer in New Brunswick, I thought about what my role might be in commanding individuals to go to their death in a conflict that I saw as ill-considered and in support of a U.S. global war on their runaway CIA henchmen. Was I willing to make decisions with the lives of my subordinates in the balance that would theoretically support the brutal history of American involvement in Iraq and the Middle East? My answer to that question slowly came to the surface as I was in the middle of my coursing this last summer. My decision was certainly a difficult one, as I have been honored to work with many individuals in the Canadian Forces who brought superior levels of dedication and professionalism to their place of work from various backgrounds across the country. Strong-minded and selfless people who worked away from family for long periods and continued to serve even under challenging conditions. It was these people with which I had spoken to since March 2003 when the Iraq War began, and gained an understanding that not all Canadian Forces members supported the American global aggression and march to unfettered militarism. Many saw the CF, the Canadian Forces, as I did, a strong proponent and tireless campaigner for world peace and global justice, prepared to bring the strong arm of our military to enforce mandates by the United Nations for the sake of world peace and security. It was for these particular reasons that I chose to leave the Canadian Forces. My initial request to release was turned down, and I was charged with poor discipline and unofficer-like behavior after I refused to participate in any further training. Although they considered charging me with more serious disobedience of a direct order, it was only after I pled guilty to poor discipline that I was returned to my unit and released as per my request. These conditions are somewhat indicative of the changed role of our military, conditions that few outside the Army are privy to, and I would suggest here that we should all pay attention to. For the first time in many years, our Army has a fully operational mandate. This means, of course, that the Army has begun to keep a firmer grip on its members as conditions continue to escalate. It should perhaps be noted that numbers of individuals going AWOL in the Canadian Forces have more than doubled to 708 in 2005 from 340 in 2001, and that's a 125% increase.